Alrighty kids, it's your good buddy Uncle Ben here reporting to you guys from lovely Sweetwater Studios here at Sweetwater HQ in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I'm sitting here with my good buddy, the legendary Mr. Mr Bowcott. How are you this morning, sir? It's bright and early. I'm still getting slowly caffeinated, becoming a human again. How are you feeling?
Same thing, caffeinating away.
Woo!
And you're the legend here, not me. But thanks for having me again.
The pleasure is entirely mine, sir, and we are here today to be cleaning up our act. We've been told for a long time we need to clean up our acts and our riffs.
Yeah.
So we're going to be giving you guys a rundown of our personal top 10 clean tone metal riffs. This is your idea, and I think it's a fantastic idea.
Yeah, it's like, I love the Sturm and Drang of metal, you know, the full bore distortion pedal to the metal, but I love that light and shade.
Right.
When you go into this quietness and then out into hell again.
That's right.
So, beach, hell. Hell. And the unwritten, unspoken law was, of course, this. I know it's a cliche, but neither of us are going to do this song. As great as it is,
of course,
and as brilliant as it is, it's been overdone, and I'll probably mess it up anyway. So this is gone.
So now that we've gotten that out of the way,
so
we can start giving these guys a rundown of our personal 10. But of course, I'm sure that we're going to forget your favorite clean tone metal riffs. So be sure to let us know about those down in the comment section below.
And as always, on every one of these thus far, our disclaimer is this is our list today.
Yeah.
It might change, well, it will change tomorrow, it might change in an hour from now, but this is the top 10 right now. So I'm going to throw some honourable mentions at the end, stealing from Mr. Rick Beato, because that's the way to go.
That's the way to go, man.
But let us know, like Ben said, what we miss, and we'll fix it maybe.
That's right, man. Would you like to do the honors, or should I take the reins?
I'll let you take the reins, as this is your fine channel.
Well, all right then, fine. So, the one that I'm going to kick this off with is one that I would say lays claim to the title of being the best Slayer riff that Slayer never wrote. It's the intro to Cirice by Ghost. Do you know that one?
I do, but remind me. It's been a while.
Absolutely lovely. I'm in standard tuning. They tuned down a whole step. So, but the thing about it is it still sounds evil no matter what tuning you're in, because it contains all the evil intervals. It's got flat fives, flat nines, about everything. Ain't nothing in it, right? Yeah.
You're right, Messrs. Hanneman and King would have been proud of that one.
It's right there.
It's a masterpiece.
Like, put a parallel fourth harmony on there, and that is the best Slayer riff ever.
Yeah, you're right.
So spooky.
Yeah, I got introduced to Ghost of all people, Phil Anselmo.
Oh yeah, he was like very evangelical about that band whenever they were kind of getting started, huh?
Yeah, I was at Download when he was playing, I think with Down, and he's like, Nick, have you heard Ghost? I said, no. He goes, come with me. So we watched from side stage. He knew every song, and when at the end, you know, Down, yeah, it was Down because they finished with Bury Me in Smoke. Like, they fill the have you seen them do that?
No.
They fill the stage up with smoke, and then they interchange members.
Oh, okay, cool.
So their friends come on and change while people can't see it. With the Download, they couldn't see it, and when the smoke cleared, he changed the lyric from Bury Me in Smoke to Bury Me in Ghost. And
That's pretty sick.
It was filled with Ghost.
Wow.
It was epic.
Surely there's footage of that I can find somewhere.
But the great thing was just standing side stage by the monitor guy with Phil Anselmo, sort of, you know, singing along to me to stuff I'd never heard before. Great
That's
band.
pretty rad,
but that was a rad riff.
It's a great one, dude. What do you got on your list, sir?
I'm going to do the first power ballad that my band Grim Reaper ever did live. We probably destroyed it, but Judas Priest, Legends.
Yeah, the metal gods.
Yeah, Birmingham based. We were kind of from near Birmingham, so they were our local heroes, not just our heroes. And the song is Beyond the Realms of Death, and I learnt it from the Unleashed in the East album. It was of course on a studio album, but this is how I butchered it, and I love it because it uses open strings and a descent while the thing remains the same. So here goes. just beautiful.
Lovely.
I love that B, A, G descent.
While still having that same shape kind of held down with the different bass notes.
Yeah, B minor with the open E, so it's
Lovely.
just a cool...
The 11. It goes to 11.
That one did.
Very nice.
3 times. Back to you, my friend.
Okay, so I'm going to put one back from the classic Ozzy days here, the Randy days. That intro to Diary of a Madman is legendary. It's like the minute that you see somebody put their fingers into that shape,
you know what
it's
it
like,
is.
It's the Diary chord. That's just what it is. Although, and I'm sure Randy would have told you the same thing, it's actually the Leo Brouwer chord. The chords in this progression here, some people don't know this, but it's almost directly the same chords from a Leo Brouwer etude. I can't remember what it's called. I'll put that on screen right here. But he was a Cuban guitar composer. And I'm sure that's where Randy got the idea, and this is his way of paying tribute to him. Amazing stuff. Some really weird chords. I'm going to butcher it. Let's see what happens.
Well, not butchered, sir.
Ooh, just a little butchery in there.
That's one that the further I get into it, my brain starts going, you're going to fail.
I know, right? It's like, what's that next shape? What is it? They're all so uncommon and strange,
and
man.
also his timing, the way he decelerates and accelerates, it's beautiful. And apparently he doubled that, so what a mind.
What?
Yeah, if you listen, it sounds like it's doubled.
That's super hard to do that when you're like floating
beautiful.
tempo like that. So cool, man. That's a great one.
Yeah, I nearly put it on my list, but when I saw it on your list, I'm like, phew, I don't have to do that
Yeah,
one.
somebody had to. You know, somebody had to fall on that grenade and play those weird chords.
So well done, that man.
Oh, yeah, indeed.
Saving Private Bowcott. Thank you. So I'm going to move forward in time to a band who loved Judas Priest. In fact, one of their first really big tours within Europe, opening for Judas Priest, the legendary Pantera.
Oh, I've heard of them.
And yeah, the late great Dime, he wrote some beautiful, clean stuff.
I know, right?
Simply beautiful, and I know something's going to be on your list later, I
Absolutely
believe.
so, yeah.
But this was the one that grabbed me. It's the 5th song on Far Beyond Driven. So they beat you to death with the first 4. What is it? Mouth for War, A New Level, Walk, then that Hostile song.
That one. The really hostile
the
song.
frequently asked question, Hostile.
Yeah, that's the one.
And then this lilting piece of beauty comes in, and it starts with one of my favorite chord of all time, and I've mentioned this before when I'm speaking with Ben, the -7 chord.
Can't lose.
So it starts with a -7, then it goes into darkness in a beautiful way.
It's just that light and shade thing you were talking about, man.
And so this is the intro. Well, I'm probably going to play the verse because it's a little longer. It's just an extension of the intro. But it's just a mesmerizingly beautiful track. And I'm playing it on the lead pickup, the bridge pickup, because if you watch footage, that's where Dime played it. So I've got to be as true as I can. He played it much, 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 much better than this. But this is This Love by Pantera and the late, great Dime. Tiny flub in there, but like I said, I'm not Dime. I messed up one note. And my favorite part of that song is actually from the live version they did at Donington in 1994 that's been released.
Yeah?
You know,
I've not watched it, no.
Just before the second chorus, there's the line on the record that goes, I would kill myself for you, I'd kill you for myself.
Yeah.
Live, Anselmo being Anselmo, Philip, God bless him, managed to inject humor, because that's a dark song. Those lyrics are freaking dark, and the video is dark. I'm amazed MTV showed it, because that was pretty, there was some murder going on there.
A little bit.
But live at Download, he goes, I wouldn't kill myself anymore. I got way too much money. That's brilliant. My other favorite part of the song is something that a lot of people miss because it's buried under Dime's magnificent middle solo.
Okay, yeah.
And what happens there is it's kind of the intro / verse riff underneath, but instead of going to this part, the C sharp, it goes to this, and it's freaking beautiful. So sometimes at Dime Bash, I'll purposely say, I want to play rhythm because I want to play this part. As much as I love that solo, this part is just great. It goes up to D minor, it does this.
Oh, you have that like chromatic walk down.
That's beautiful, man.
That's really cool. I never noticed that. Huh.
Very clever. But he was a clever man.
Yeah. And again, that ear for melody, to be able to do stuff that's so brutal and also stuff like that that's so pretty and melodic at the same time. A well-rounded player indeed.
Yeah, like I said before, that my favorite Jerry Cantrell quote is, our job is to take something ugly and make it beautiful.
That works.
That was the perfect example.
Sums it up, doesn't it?
So back to you, sir.
All right, number 3 on my list from a little American progressive metal band called Dream Theater. My good buddy Eric Reason introduced me to that band pretty early in my guitar playing days. And I remember I went over to his house, and, I was into like Vai and Satriani and stuff. And the most progressive things I'd listened to up to that point was like Rush and Yes.
Right.
And he's like, oh, if you like that stuff, you need to hear this. And he showed me songs like Pull Me Under and Under a Glass Moon and stuff like that. I had my mind blown. I didn't know you could like play in time signatures like that and arrange songs like that and obviously shred like that like John Petrucci does. But I think the first Dream Theater thing I ever heard, like a lot of people, was that intro to Pull Me Under, which is cool because it has like elements of kind of every E minor scale in there. It sounds like E Aeolian. It has that 6 in there like E Dorian. But it's also got that flat 9 in there like E Phrygian. So it's just like every E minor scale kind of all in one riff. Of course, there's some like little bar accents on there. Playing the old Les Paul here, which does not have the kickstand. So use your imagination and make up the whittles yourself.
Mr. John Petrucci.
What a player.
What a great guy.
Yeah, right.
What's funny is that we passed like ships in the night at various festivals around the world. I was there as a reporter mainly, as a journalist doing columns for Guitar World and stuff, and he was playing. We never met, and little known to me, when I lived in a little town called Port Washington on Long Island, he lived like 3 miles away in an even smaller town.
Oh.
And I met him in Babies Are Us.
Really?
I guess we both had kids at around.
Very metal.
Our wives had kids at the same time, not us. Although John's capable of inhuman things, so maybe he can have a baby. I don't know, but sorry, John.
If he wanted to, he could do it.
He probably could. And it was like, John, it's like so weird to me.
Yeah.
And it was so out of context, so far away from.
What are you doing here?
Path.
Yeah.
I'm looking for diapers. What about you? And then we started meeting in weird places like supermarkets. But,
Wow.
So to get to know him after all those years was quite fantastic.
You
and
broke the
what
seal.
What a great player, man.
And Babies Are Us.
There you go.
To you, sir.
Right, so staying in America.
Okay.
The first big American band that had the guts to take Pantera out was, of course, Skid Row.
Okay, all right, that's right, yeah.
And they when their first record came out, I actually met Snake in a store in New Jersey back in the day.
Rad.
Just when they got signed.
Yeah.
And then 8 months later, they were the biggest since sliced bread. And
kids,
deservedly
right?
so. Yeah, they were kids. He was selling guitars. Had that spark in his eyes. He still does to this day.
Heck yeah.
And 18 in Life, man. Once again, the minor 7 chord
It is,
in
right there
action.
for you.
So here it goes. Simple lines intertwining. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Simply beautiful.
I dig it, man. That was also the first song that I ever recorded in a studio. that same guy I just talked about a second ago, Eric Reason, him and his dad built this amazing home studio in their basement back when a home studio was more than a laptop. You know, like
Right.
they had a board, they had a console, they had everything. And he invited me over to record a cover of that. That's the first song I ever recorded.
Wow.
I'll have to show it to you. It's total
Please.
crap. Total crap.
Doesn't matter. I'm sure it meant the world at the time.
It did. It really did. And I learned so much doing that. So I'll always have a soft spot for that too.
Yeah.
It's a good one, man.
Back to you, sir.
All right, man. So Mastodon is one of my favorite bands. They have a way of writing, you know, absolutely pulverizing riffs. But whenever they do more chordal and clean tone riffs, dude, they choose the weirdest collection of chords you've ever seen. It's never anything stock. It's never anything you've seen in a Mel Bay book.
Right.
Mel doesn't know these chords.
No.
Leave them to Bill and Brent for Mastodon. There's a track of theirs called Pendulous Skin that has this acoustic intro.
Know it.
Again, it's also in D standard, so I'm tuned up a step from that. You can still hear just how eerie and weird, but still melodic these chords are. They're full of like every ugly interval in the world, but somehow it still works. It's also really hard to play and really long, so I'll see how many snafus I can fit into this one.
Cool. I'll go for coffee then.
Yeah, you'll
I
have
want to
time.
watch. I want to watch and learn. So go. And that was first take, by the way, folks. That wasn't a second take. That was first.
You're
Well
my
done.
favorite liar in the world.
No, I'm honest, because I'm double taking almost everything. Too early, man.
How weird are those chords?
They're beautifully weird, though.
Yeah.
It all sort and when it goes really, really pretty, it's even more pretty because of the
Ugliness that
ugliness
preceded
yeah.
it, right? It really, really is that way. And I love, too, how they have so many things with those open strings and also those, I think Rick Beato calls them false fingerings, where you have the same note in the same octave in two locations, but it just rings out weird. Mastodon does that so much, and it sounds so cool, man. I love that one, but there's a million other ones I could have chosen. I almost put the intro of Hearts Alive on there. There's a bunch. I think their melodic vocabulary and chord uses is just so unique, so cool.
And fascinating human beings. As
Oh,
well.
yeah.
Fascinating human beings.
Great
They're
dudes.
a lot of fun to hang with.
Absolutely.
Little bit off the beaten path, as that riff proved.
Yes, indeed.
That's a reflection of who they are.
I think so.
It really is.
I think so, man. All right, what you got, sir?
I'm going to stay in the 80s, America again.
All right, I like it there.
Yeah, I love it here. Operation Mindcrime.
Oh, little Queensryche, huh?
An album.
Yeah.
What an album, man. And it's like, I think Operation Mindcrime is the perfect example of the difference between the music industry then and the music industry now. Because if Queensryche got signed today, they wouldn't be given the chance to grow and develop and make Operation Mindcrime. They'd have probably been dropped after the first record.
Word.
Whereas back then, it was called artist development. So they'd pick up someone and go, you have potential, we'll give you 3 or 4 albums.
Imagine that.
And the result was something brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant.
Legendary
To this day, I
album.
love it. And there's a song on there called I Don't Believe in Love. And the first part of the verse is just beautiful. It's in the saddest of all keys, according to Mr. Nigel Tufnell, D minor, of course. And it goes something like this. It's just beautiful, man.
Beautiful, man. I like that one a lot. I've never noticed that riff before.
Yeah, it kind of, that was one that made me go, beauty and clean.
Yeah.
But that whole album's full of great riffs, from brutal to clean and pretty. So, yeah.
You know what my favorite part of that record is?
Go on.
The bass tone. The bass tone on that is absolutely crushing.
Especially when combined with the drum sound as well.
Yeah.
That's a beautifully produced record.
It's a great choice. Love those chords, man.
Me too.
Okay, so similar to Mastodon, another band that I'm totally obsessed with that has an extremely unusual chord vocabulary is Opeth. Have you listened to a lot of Opeth stuff?
Yes, yeah. Frederick's a good friend of mine.
Dude. And like Michael Ockerfeldt, I think, is just an absolute genius, man. That guy's vocabulary for chords and melodies and stuff, it's so dark, it's so menacing, but it's like really beautiful at the same time. He always like zigs where I expect it to zag in a lot of ways. And whenever we started putting this list together, it was really a chore to try to pick one Opeth riff. You know, it's like, is it Window Pane? Is it, you know, there's so many to pick. But that second part in Dirge for November off of Blackwater Park, I think is one of the most beautiful things he's ever written on guitar. It's got this super warm tone with like a bunch of reverb on it. Unusual chord progressions.
Yeah, very.
So I had to put that one on my list. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, it's gorgeous. It really is.
Because like the first part, you know, is like very A minor sounding. Then the second section starts with that second inversion F minor.
Yeah.
It's also got like D flat major 7, A flat major 7. Those are just chords that like I would never think to put together in a million years. And from what I understand, Ockerfeldt isn't like a theory guy.
No.
He's not thinking about tritone substitutions and all this kind of stuff. He's just like, that would sound cool here, so therefore that's why you do it. At the end of the day,
that's why it's right.
That's how it works,
Yeah.
right? Sounds good. It's good.
Letting his head control where his hands go, not a theory book.
Right. Exactly, man.
And that's sometimes dangerous, I found.
Yeah, it can be.
Oh, I can't play that chord because it's wrong.
Oh.
Says who? Says your book. Throw it away.
Yeah, toss it away then.
He goes back to the dime thing, the one scale you need to know. Chromatic.
That's all
That's
of them.
it. You don't need to know the Jack off a Lydian.
Love it.
But I do, and it's a good... The Jack off a Lydian is a great scale.
Use it frequently.
Especially in my stuff. Right, so after spending a while in America, I'm going to go back to England. And when I was growing up and starting to play, this live album by a guy called Robin Trower came out. And it's just brilliant. A 3-piece band. There's no fixing, no edits. It's just a band kicking ass in a stadium somewhere in Europe. And it's just magnificent. And there's a song on there called Daydream. And by the way, if you've never checked out Robin Trower, the live album, it's just called Robin Trower Live. I highly recommend it. It's just brilliant. His singer's amazing. The rhythm sections are amazing. And he just goes off in a really, really melodic but beautiful, inspiring way. A lot of blues-based stuff, and it's just killer. But there's a song that's called Daydream that starts with this clean intro, and I've just added something to it because if you go on the YouTubes and you look up that song, I wanted to hear various live versions, then it'll come up with lessons. And I'm like, okay, let's see what other people's interpretations are. And all these guys come up, and some of them are good, some of them aren't so good. But there's Robin Trower doing it himself, and the algorithm is not picking it up. You have to write Robin Trower teaches Daydream to get it. Yeah, when you put Daydream Robin Trower listen, he doesn't come up. It's whacked. So fix that, Facebook and YouTube.
I would rather
wrong.
learn it from him.
Yeah. Oh no. See,
you should know.
Well, that's the thing. I'll watch some of these guys and go, well, I don't play it that way, but I'm going to stick with my way.
Yeah.
But he does something little extra on this video, which he shot in, I think, like 6 or 7 years ago. I think he starts it with... people often ask me how I played the intro to Daydream. I tell them to mind their own business. and then he proceeds to play.
That's amazing.
And then he proceeds to play it, and it's just great. His feel, his timing. He's one of those guys
killer.
you can't put it, you can't grid it.
No,
you wouldn't want to either. There's a feel thing going on. It's kind of like the start of, Diary.
Yeah.
He does that. He floats it and floats it beautifully as only he can. But this is me probably going under for 3 times, but kind of trying to float to the best of to the best of my ability. And once again, so I've got a Dunlop Univibe pedal kicked in to be somewhat more like him.
Very nice.
And I'm using a Strat which he uses, but these hands aren't his, and neither are this brain. But once again, the minor 7 chord comes into play, so gotta love it. So let's see how many takes this one takes. But as far as you're concerned, it'll be take number 1.
And one
Hurrah!
only.
Close enough for rock and roll.
That's rad, man.
It's beautiful.
It's Hendrix, but it's dark.
Yeah, and it's challenging.
Yeah.
And I love the minor 7 has the inversion in there, so it's... Yeah, it's just gets darkness.
It does, man. That's really cool. It's funny, too, that we did Opeth and that back-to-back. Have you heard Opeth's cover of Bridge of Sighs?
No, they don't.
Oh, dude, it's incredible. It's amazing. You'll love it.
Oh, I'm going to check it out straight after this video.
Perfect match.
Yeah,
Perfect match.
It really is.
Well played, sir.
Back to you, my friend.
I don't need to explain this. Cemetery Gates.
Of course.
Again, it's kind of hard to choose like one dime one. But Cemetery Gates is probably the one that I heard first.
Right.
And hearing that beautiful layering that they did, it sounds like there's an acoustic on there, maybe a 12-string or something.
You know what's interesting? You know who played that?
Huh.
It was Rex.
No way.
Rex played that intro, yeah.
I did not know that.
No, I didn't either until he told me.
That is super cool.
Because I got it wrong somewhere. He went, hey, dude, that was me. And he did it very nicely. He wasn't like, hey.
Yeah.
He was like, hey, Nick, I did that. And once again, what's it start with? A
minor 7.
Minor 7,
There
yeah.
it is, man. That's so cool. You got all the coolest stories, man.
Far away. I make them all up, by the way. But hey,
Okay, yeah.
don't let the truth spoil a good story, Barry Gibbons once told me. There you have it. It's beautiful. Once again, making great use of open drone notes.
Right. You got those guys just and the what do we call them? False fingerings.
Yeah.
The 2 notes in the same place
Yeah.
kind of thing. Just gives it that cool, eerie kind of drone, that natural chorusing that you
Yeah,
get.
you get that. They're slightly not quite correct.
Yeah,
so,
the perfect imperfections.
Yeah, exactly.
Beautiful stuff, man.
Yeah, well done. Good choice.
Thank you.
Right, I'm going to stay in England for a little bit, and Mr. Tony Iommi, the master of the metal riff and also master of the clean stuff. I was very tempted to do the start of Children of the Sea. You know that
Oh,
one.
yeah.
Once again, D minor. But there's one on Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, and I mentioned this in my 70s video we did together. My first metal album was Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. And he's tuned to C sharp or maybe even D on this next one, but there's a song on the second side of the record, because records used to have 2 side scales. You had to flip them over and everything. And it's called Spiral Architect.
Oh, yeah, man.
And it's just one of those great, great things. And what's interesting, I had to analyze what it is to see if the minor 7 thing carried on.
Right.
And the first chord, if we consider it to be regular tuning, is like a D minor 7 sus2, and then it goes to an inverted E minor 7, which is probably why I like it so much. So,
there you go. I'm noticing a theme here.
and I didn't notice that until I had to analyze it, going, why do I like this so much?
Yeah.
Apart from the fact it's really cool. So this is not in the correct low tuning, but this is in regular tuning, and let's see what I can do to butcher this bad boy, because he plays it fast.
Yeah, it's quick.
It's really quick, and I think he's playing it on acoustic as well.
Hard mode.
And he's got 2 false fingers on his fretting hand.
And he's doing it left-handed.
Yeah, the guy is a genius.
Absolutely.
A genius in more ways than one. So, Spiral Architect, Black Sabbath, take 666, probably. there you have it, the genius, the clean genius of Mr. Army. And to prove that I'm not faking it via something I recorded earlier, I made a deliberate mistake. Are you buying that? If you are, I've got a bridge. But anyway, carry on.
Okay, so I'm going to take it to the big four right here. Megadeth, not exactly a band known for ballads, but whenever they do tunes like a Tout le Monde, they know how to clean it up and do some cool stuff. I almost put the intro to like Good Morning Black Friday on here.
Which is very cool as well.
Yeah, I didn't want to play all those chords though.
Yeah.
You've
played enough.
There's enough in there already, so might as well make it a little bit more simple. Some minor 7 action in this one too.
Yep, starts with the same F sharp minor 7 that This Love and Cemetery Gates.
Yeah, that's right. Ooh. And something I like about it too is there's so much of that like pedal tone of that single A note through pretty much all of those chords.
And it's deceptively difficult to play correctly.
It is, and I don't know if I'm doing it exactly like they do, but give it a listen, see what you think about it.
Well done. Another one, like I said, deceptively difficult to play.
It kind of is. It got a little bit of that Phrygian flavor in it too. It's kind of F sharp minor, but it's got that flat 9 when it goes to the G. Really cool sounding one. C'est si bon. C'est si bon.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a good one, man.
Now, this one, there is a band called Metal Church. I met them in '85. They were managed by the same people as us. They had this singer called David Wayne. They were incredible. They had an album called The Dark, which I think came out 85, 86. And I was honored to be asked by them to go on a part of a tour. They were opening for Anthrax, and I played the song a few times, including in Chicago, which was a definite bucket list tick for me because I love the riff. And it might give some people, oh, he's playing something, but I'm not. And I'll show you the one. You'll probably get what the song that's implied by this is, but it's not. And they were written at the same time, so I don't think there was no plagiarism. It was just two great bands with two great ideas that kind of started the same, then went different.
It's like when they released Deep Impact and Armageddon at like the same time.
Yeah.
Only it's a lot better than either of those.
There you go. Yeah, this is just one of those riffs. The first time I heard it, I went, I wish I'd written that.
Right.
Darn it.
Those are the ones.
I wish I'd written it. So this is Watch the Children Pray by Metal Church. And Mr. Wayne, rest in peace, sir. Rest in peace. Close enough for rock and roll. And of course, the song you're probably thinking it sounds like is this, because they start with the same chord, just with a slightly different picking pattern.
A lot of shared DNA between those two riffs, huh?
Pun intended, yeah.
It's like if you took Sanitarium and mixed in a little bit of James Bond with that
kind
of dramatic walk up, you end up with that riff.
Well put, James Bond. Dum, ba-dum, dum. Yep.
Yeah, it's an awesome one, man. Good choice.
Back to you, sir.
So I almost put Welcome Home Sanitarium on my list. I was trying to choose a single Metallica clean riff. The one that I heard first was... And I always loved that, but it's kind of incomplete with those harmonized leads over it, so I didn't want to put that on there as my singular pick. There's so many awesome clean Metallica riffs that start right here.
Yep.
You know? And it could be... something about that position that they love using, but for me, I love that intro to Fade to Black. You know, it's really beautiful on its own, that solo that comes in over it too. Awesome intro, so that's one that I chose for my list. Love that one, man. You got that drone, that G against all those different chords in there. I love that sound.
It's a good one.
It's a good one.
And what's funny is that kind of reminds me of something by the band that I'm going to visit next.
All right.
Yeah, so back in the day, this band, Def Leppard, you might have heard of them.
I've heard of them.
Staying in England.
Yeah.
What many Americans might not know is that the Pyromania album did not do well in England. There was a press backlash just before it came out. A big journalist got butthurt by them. Actually, by security of a venue, he thought it was Def Leppard slighting him. It wasn't. It was security of a venue. So he wrote a big piece about how Def Leppard sold out to America. So
Really?
Pyromania kind of bombed. It didn't completely bomb, but it didn't do the billions of records like it did over here.
Massive over here.
And sadly, it took the band's combined unity as a family when Rick sadly lost his arm.
Yeah.
The public went, oh my God, that's sad. And he's still in the band and he's playing and it's great. Then everyone embraced hysteria. So I was writing for a magazine called Guitarist at the time. And this is so long ago, folks, they sent me a tape teaser. The record label sent you a cassette and it had little snippets of songs and they'd talk over it or put holes in it so you couldn't leak it anywhere.
I see, yeah.
So very clever, there was no, none of this, we will follow you on via this footprint and we will sue you massively. It's like, we've given you a cassette so you can't use this because it's got holes everywhere and we're talking over it. And the editor said, hey, we're thinking of doing this piece. Would you like to do it? And I said, can I hear So he sent me the thing and I called him the next day. He said, what do you think? I said, I'm no genius, but there's one song on here. There's at least one song on here that's going to be number one somewhere, if not everywhere. It turned out there were like 3 or 4.
Oh yeah, tons of them.
But the one that I picked was the one I'm about to play. But what's interesting about those chord shapes you were doing,
Yeah, that's classic Def Leppard.
So it's got that shape and also that one.
Very nice.
So it's clever stuff. So the same DNA. From commercial to allegedly non-commercial, but you do hear Metallica on the radio all the time now.
Sure.
But so Love Bites. Once again, it starts with, guess what? A minor 7 chord, a D minor 7, and there's like 15 guitars on there or something.
Oh, the layering is insane.
And it's brilliant, but when you watch the band live, they just nail it beautifully. So I'm going to give you my best single guitar attempt of something which I consider to be just a emotional, space-filled classic.
Lovely. That's a good one.
And I didn't butcher it too badly.
Hey!
And I also did the tricky F sus2 shape, like putting that, like the droning on the, getting that C in there to just fill it a little bit to make up for the fact there's not 15 guitars. Just one badly played one. So, anyway, back to you, my friend.
So I'm already regretting putting this one on my list because I think it's a little bit too early in the morning to play these chords. Because Periphery, dude, they'll sneak some high dollar, I call them vitamin chords in their songs because they have names like D11, B9. I think those are stuff I have deficiencies in. My doctor told me about that, so I try to play them more so I get them in my system,
Yeah, you definitely need B12 to do this one.
I think so.
You need an energy jolt. Yeah. Good luck with this one. This is brutal, but
Dude,
great choice.
That intro to All New Materials off of their first record, if I'm not mistaken, is just so cool, man. And Periphery is one of those bands that, of course, is, massively influential these days. But I remember hearing their first record back in the day and being like, this is going to be something special. I had the same feeling that I did when I heard like the first stuff that Killswitch Engage started really breaking out with, where I was like, 1 billion people are going to copy this.
Right.
And of course they have.
Yeah.
But this intro, I think, is still really, really unique and really cool. It's got some really stretchy chords, some ringing strings. It's actually in drop C tuning. I'm going to play it in standard tuning for reasons. But enjoy All New Materials. I'll see if I can get through it without cursing too much. Wow, I can't believe I did that first take. Can you?
No, it's staggering. Yeah.
I practice a lot. That's really hard to play, man.
I was getting
It's
a migraine
really
just
tough.
watching you do it. Actually.
Seriously, I got to shake it out after that and do some guitar yoga after that.
Well, you
but
did.
really, just beautiful, beautiful chord progression in there.
And I love the way, once again, the minor 7 creeps in with
Very.
that old, with the hat, you know, with the...
Yeah, hit him with the
that vibe,
doobies.
yeah.
If in doubt, doobie it out.
And they
Right?
did well, yeah, something like that.
Where legal and permitted in your hometown? I don't know.
For my next one, number 9, I'm going to kind of go to Britain, kind of, sort of, because the two brothers behind the band, one of who sadly passed away, Mr Malcolm Young, hail from Scotland, but then they went to Australia, AC/DC, and watching footage of this, like Angus actually plays this without a pick, but I hybrid pick it because I'm not as dexterous as him, but it's the beautiful start to Rock and Roll Ain't Noise Pollution from a relatively unsuccessful album called Back in Black that came out in 1980. And this is just one of the many ridiculous anthemic all-time classics that stemmed from that None More Black covered album.
That's right, man.
So Rock and Roll Ain't Noise Pollution played with a pick and finger, so not quite as same as Angus and definitely not as good, but here we go. Simple but
So good.
beautiful, and that
Bluesy.
Yeah, very, very bluesy.
That's not one of those ones that's like harder to nail and make it sound exactly like the record than you think it's going to be.
Oh,
You
no,
know?
it's one of those ones that it's like AC/DC simple. Wrong. Wrong.
Wrong. You try it.
Yeah, just try and play You Shook Me All Night Long to the record.
Yeah, dead
with
on.
that same feel.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Dude, the one that's always mesmerized me is Malcolm's rhythm part in Thunderstruck. It's just a B that... But there's something about that pattern and the chops and the accents. It's like I never make it sound even remotely right.
And his sound, man, it's surprisingly clean. One of my favorite quotes about Malcolm's tone was I interviewed one of his long-standing techs, and I said, you know, you've got the amps, you've got the speakers, you've got the strings. You know, I asked Angus once, what strings does Malcolm use? He goes, the heaviest FAQing ones you can find, mate. And they're basically telephone wires.
Yeah, huge.
High
Like
action,
12s,
and he's
13s.
beating the crap out of the guitar. So I said to the guy, I said, you know, what's some, you know, all these factors play a part, right? He goes, no, you're forgetting one thing. I said, what's that? He said, the sound of air literally distorting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was beating such energy out of those speakers that the air was changing.
Yeah, that's the key.
the power of Malcolm. May he
Word.
rest in peace. Again, another rest in peace. This is sad.
No doubt.
But back to you, sir, for your number 9.
Actually, I think, is this my number 10?
Oh, no, this will be your number 10.
This will be my
yeah,
number
this-
10. I'm going to close this out with another R.I.P. Little riff by Mr. Edward Van Halen. Of course, we're all obsessed with, you know, the early records, the early Roth stuff, and there's some amazing stuff through the Hagar era. But I remember back in the day, whenever the Twister soundtrack came out, which was much better than the actual movie. That movie's not as good as you remember. Go back and watch it again. It's not that good.
Right.
But we loved it back in the day, and I definitely wore that soundtrack out. It had Chili Peppers, it had Goo Goo Dolls, but it had the song Humans Being by Van Halen,
What a great song.
which is the one that my brother and I just played over and over and over. I'm still not sure how he does that bendy thing at the end of the solo. It sounds like a bend that just goes to infinity.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I love the intro in that tune. It's got a beautiful tone. It's like just slightly crispy, just a little dirty. It's not super, super clean. But it's got that really cool kind of moving shape, moving across the neck, some cool picking arpeggios. I love this one, so had to make it onto my list. Love it.
Once again, talk about the feel, something that's hard to nail because of his...
His dynamics and stuff in that, like the chords where he really digs in, and you know that last F that he hits in there, it's like really broken up just because he hit it really hard.
You've got to be aggressive as hell.
Have to, yeah.
Well, I think I got this, you're going to fail. You've got to play it like you mean it.
Head first.
Like he did, yeah. Feet first, everything first.
You're 10, sir.
Yeah, now this is a tough one because, as we discussed before, this is a ridiculously short list from a very long list of amazing stuff. And I'm like, I love Bothered by Stone Sour because, once again, it's got the minor 7 chord. Yep. There's Love Kills by Vinnie Vincent, which is one of those ones that crept under a lot of people's radars.
Deep cut.
There's the start of Achilles' Last Stand with those weird and wonderful chords.
Oh my God,
that are magnificent.
There's so many Page riffs that could go on this.
And
so many.
There's also one which you featured in your 70s 10, so I'm not going to play it. Because it was a very close runner for the 10, which is Don't Fear the Reaper.
Sure, yep.
Which is just brilliant. And once again, surprisingly hard to play well.
It really is, yeah.
And I went for a classic, no Stairway, but there's this one song that... I went to see Aerosmith when they toured England for the very first time. They actually gave an EP out. If you were one of the first 50 there, they gave an EP to you.
Wow.
So I have that EP at home.
It's like going to a taping of Oprah or something.
Yeah, it was great. And they got to this song, and Mr. Perry started playing it. Mr. Tyler walked at the mic and went, F that song, I'm not playing it. And they didn't. They stopped it and played something else.
That's pretty rock and roll, honestly.
Oh, it was. It was great.
Yeah.
But I was gutted because I loved the song.
Yeah, it's a showstopper.
But, this was around the Rocks era, so they were just playing. Their groove was ridiculous. Mm-hmm. But you all know the song. Dream On. And I'll dream on forever wishing I'd written something as cool as this.
It's so cool.
And it's off kilter in that run at the end.
Yeah.
With that ridiculous slide from C to C.
Yeah, it goes all the way up.
Yeah, you've got to use the dime approach of look at where you're going to, not where you're leaving.
Yeah, you can't keep up with your eyes,
you can miss that one if you're not looking where you're going. So
killer.
Let's see how many takes this will take. I'm guaranteeing one. Or maybe 1 and 1, which is really 11. But we'll find out. Here goes. You know what? There was a jazz chord in there, but I don't want to be here for 12 hours.
It's just a little jazz.
Yeah.
It's just a little jazz.
That was my interpretation, folks, of that one chord. Adding a little darkness to something of beauty.
I like it.
Work that one out. It's a beauty and it's a challenger. And hybrid picking, man.
Dude, I'm glad that you put that one on your list because I also just didn't want to play that one. That's one that I have learned 100 times and have forgotten 100 times. I can never remember how to play that thing and make it sound right on just one guitar. But it's so gorgeous. Those chords are so
clever. It's one of those ones we were talking about earlier. It's one of those riffs that when you start thinking about it, and I was guilty of, once you start overthinking it, you fail.
Yeah, totally.
That you disengage your muscle memory. Mm-hmm. And that's my excuse, folks.
That's
muscle
a good one,
memory
man.
Disengagement. Guilty.
I'm sure you've heard the version with Dio and Yngwie, right?
Oh.
Dude, Dio singing, that's insane. It's so good. It's Dio. Of course it is.
And Yngwie plays guitar quite well.
He's been known to do that from time to time. Quite well.
And underrated, especially on the vibrato and feel side.
The best.
He's not
the
just
king.
technical prowess.
That's right.
There's emotion there. And there's fury, which is often unleashed.
Indeed. That's right, man.
Well, thanks, man. That was a lot of fun.
That was our 10. Our absolute top 10 clean metal riffs. Again, I'm sure that we missed your favorite, so be sure to let us know about that in the comments section below. It's been a pleasure, as always, sitting down and digging through these riffs with you.
Likewise.
Taking a little bath, cleaning these guitars up.
Yep, exactly.
Not being a bunch of dirty scumbags like we usually are. Now we're clean scumbags.
Yeah, at least for this hour that we've just spent doing it. So back to filth now. Back to filth.
Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much to Sweetwater Studios here at Sweetwater HQ in Fort Wayne, Indiana, for having us and letting us run the show and use the studio here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, support my channel on Patreon, and all that other good stuff. Now get away from here and go play some guitar. Less clicking.
All picking. Ladies and gentlemen, Uncle Ben, the one and only Eller.
Okay, cool.
think we did.
We got it.
That was fun, man.
Oh, dude, they're all
you
great.
picked some brutes.